Good evening, Insightful Game. What's
Hey,
up?
how y'all doing? How are y'all doing this evening? Good to see you.
Good seeing everybody. Make sure that y'all drop a something in the chat to let us know that you are here and that you all are able to hear us okay, so that we can shout you out like we always do. But first things first, while we wait for people to get on, Lakeisha, how has your week been going so far?
It's been a busy week, yet productive, so no complaints on my end. How about yourself?
No complaints either. Not really too busy. Been kind of cool, so I'm good about that. Starting off strong, so
Yes.
hopefully it'll end strong.
I do have a
So,
question. Are you all getting ready to wrap up y'all semester at Georgia State, or
yes,
do y'all still have some ways to go?
no, we're about to wrap up.
Good, 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 good.
We're about to wrap up. Actually, next week is the last week of classes, and then the week
Oh,
after that, is finals. What about
oh,
y'all?
wow. So our students wrapped up their final classes on last Friday, and actually this week they are actually taking final examinations. So there are going to be some graduation ceremonies over the next couple of weeks, just because of COVID. But I'm glad, that our students and their families and the rest of their loved ones will get some semblance of an in-person event, compared to the class of 2020 on last year.
That's what's up. Yes. So we got our first insightful game member in the building, Gwen. What's up, Gwen? She's saying, "Hi, ladies. Y'all are coming in clear." So that's excellent.
Yay! Thank you, Gwen.
We always like to hear that. So for as always, for our new listeners that may be joining us, new viewers, let's introduce ourselves. I am your girl Shaniqua, aka S.
And I am your girl, Lakeisha, aka L.
And we are welcoming you to another episode of Insightful Conversations with SNL. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. We hope that you really enjoyed this particular episode. Go ahead, as soon as you log on, go ahead and like um, our episode. You can feel free to leave comments at any time. Definitely make sure that you're following us on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram. And also for the people that don't like to watch us, you might be busy or you got something to do at work or whatever, make sure that you listen to us on all major podcast platforms. Okay. All right. So we got a lot on the agenda this evening, but we always like to start off talking in our segment what we call buzzworthy topics. So, Lakeisha, you want to kind of kick off the buzzworthy topic segment?
I can. I think the very first topic that I wanted to talk about is what's, currently buzzing
Yes.
as of the day, and that is the verdict, the guilty verdict that came down in the death of George Floyd. And so I was very much happy to hear that verdict. Um, Derek was charged with third-degree murder. Um, he was also charged with second-degree unintentional murder, as well as second-degree manslaughter. I also learned that his bail was revoked immediately. And of
Good.
course, he was handcuffed and taken out of the courtroom. Of course, there were numerous, cameramen and journalists and things of that nature. You could hear people cheering outside the courtroom, cars honking and things of that nature. So, although there is nothing that can bring George back, there is nothing that can ever replace, his physical presence here on earth, and with him being, with his family. Hopefully, this will begin to, be a place of ease and rest, um, and provide some sort of closure as they move along their healing journey.
I totally agree. And I just want to say, I was a bit nervous before going into listening to this verdict because I mean, let's just be honest. The American justice system has like really failed us, especially in the Black community, for many, many different occasions. So you never know how this one was gonna go. So I just remember like literally before the verdict like was read, my heart was like beating really fast and I was getting really emotional and I didn't even know what was going on. But then to be able to hear that, you know, he was, you know, found guilty on all three counts, like you said, it definitely doesn't bring back George, but nonetheless, I'm glad that his family was able to get the justice that they so deserved and that George deserved too. And and every time like I think about like the verdict as it was read back, I think about when his daughter said, you know, daddy changed the world. And he really did.
Yeah.
Because this was something
Oh
just not
yeah.
this was something not only just for Americans, but this was for like the world, for the Black community, for minorities, for Black men. You know what I'm saying? For all the people out there who went without justice. So I just, I'm thankful that at least we can breathe today in
Yes.
this moment. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's not because it's not every day that this goes in our favor like this. So, like I said, this moment we're able to breathe and to really just praise God for
I agree,
this
cuz.
happening.
I agree. What about yourself? Is there anything buzzworthy that's really has spoken to you? Whether it's, you know, taking place in the last couple of hours, last couple of days, or even, you know, on last week?
Yeah, I just want to say all of these senseless shootings. You know, at this point, I've kind of lost count. I don't know. I don't even know how many. It's just been a lot within this past month.
Yeah.
And it's been like in different areas of the country. It's like you can't even really process one event because when you do, it's another one that happens like sometime within a few hours, within a few days. It's just a lot. I don't know necessarily what is going on right now, but I'm just, I don't know. It's hard. It's like, it's very difficult. Like, it makes me not even want to like really watch the news because I'm just like, oh my goodness, something else is happening today. Something really needs to be done. I
Yeah.
mean, because this, it's just beginning to be too much. And I will say, I was talking to another friend of mine that at least when we were in the lockdown, like this didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? When we was lockdown with COVID was starting last year, whatever, we didn't have this, but now it's just like people are out, people are angry. Um, it's just we just gotta stop the senseless killings.
I agree. I agree. I agree.
So Gwen put a comment. She's like, I think everyone I know who were tuning in for the verdict was nervous. I think we all breathed a sigh of relief and felt like justice was given. I agree. Now we just have to make sure that the sentencing matches the crime.
Yeah, most
That's another thing we
definitely.
have to look at.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's something about mine, just the senseless shootings. What about you? Any other buzzworthy moments for you?
Not necessarily. Like I said, it's just been a lot going on. Like you said, from the young man who lost his life, the 20-year-old, you know, Dante, you know, had a child. I think the child was like 1 or 2 years old. And, you know, unfortunately, that child is going to grow up without his father.
Mm-hmm.
You know, his dad won't never really experience, you know, his first day of school, you know, him going off the prom, the first time he has his heart broken, him learning how to drive, just all of those little moments sometimes we tend to take for granted, you know, in the blink of an eye, it's gone. And so my condolences definitely go out to his family. And then we learn, you know, Scottie Pippen's son, you know,
Yeah.
passed. And I'm
Did they
like,
ever say what happened with that? Did they ever say?
um, I haven't heard any more information with regards to his cause of death. But you know, nonetheless, a young person. I mean, 33 years of age. I mean, that's within our age range.
Right.
You know, so like you
Right.
said, it's just one episode after, you know, another. And then
Mm-hmm.
me and you were just talking about when we were planning for this episode about the rapper. Um,
Black Rob.
yes.
Yes. Oh, going back real quick. He had a health condition. Okay, so
Okay.
Scottie Pippen's son had a health condition. Okay, thank you for letting us know that. But yeah, with Black Rob, yeah, we were just talking about him, especially when he had just released a video,
Yeah.
basically talking about the passing of DMX. And that literally was like the week before he passed.
Yeah.
So yeah. I know that I read that he had a lot of health conditions. He had like multiple strokes and things like that. And I also had read something about him being homeless and just being on hard times and things like that. And I know a lot of people were getting upset with Diddy because, as you know, Black Rob was under Bad Boy Records
Exactly.
back in the day. A lot of people was getting upset with Diddy because they felt like he didn't do enough and things like that. But then I did read that Diddy did reach out. I don't know if he reached out to Black Rob directly or reached out to his team or whoever, but I don't think they were able to connect for some reason. Like, I don't think he talked to him, but they
Gotcha.
said that he did reach out. So, it's just a sad situation all around. I was a big fan of Black Rob. I love the song "Whoa." Like,
Yeah.
that was like my song back in the day. It was on heavy rotation
Oh
on my
yeah.
playlist.
Yes.
But yeah, it's just very sad. And then losing DMX, it's just a lot. It's just a
Yeah.
lot. We losing a lot of people.
I agree.
So, and it's like part of my childhood too, almost. You know what I mean? Because these are people like that we grew up on listening to and things like that. So, rest in peace to both of them.
Yes. It's no longer, I used to think as a child, well, not even think, as a child, we would see the elders in the community transitioning, whether
Mm-hmm.
that's grandmother or grandpa, or whether it's a deacon, a deaconess in the church, or, Miss Susie who runs the store, been running the little corner store, for 30 something odd years. But I mean, today it's like the roles have reversed. You're seeing a lot more young people leave this
Right.
earth, and we're actually seeing a lot more older people celebrating birthdays. They're out here living their life, they're in the best of shape. They're continuing to do things and break charts and all of this kind of thing. Even when COVID came out, the whole thing was, we got to protect our elderly people, because their immune systems are fragile and things like that. But like I said, they have been pushing through
Mm-hmm.
the ways of this world like none other. So it's definitely something I think as younger generations, we definitely need to pay attention as to why so many of
Right.
us are leaving, and how, so many of them are continuing to live on, to live their lives.
Yeah, I definitely think it really makes a difference on how we take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
Because we have to make sure that we are watching our health and watching what we eat and things like that. Really, like, taking care of our bodies, because our bodies are temple. And we definitely want to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. Because like you said, we're losing a lot of people.
I agree, cuz I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah, yeah. So we don't mean to seem so somber, because I know it sounds like that, but we're not really trying to be somber.
Yeah.
So, I remember when we were talking about other buzzworthy topics. You were telling me something about Flex and Cardi B.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
for those who follow Cardi, or you are a fan of Funk Master Flex, I want to say that um, either last week or the week before, he um, interviewed, and basically the question was asked, just about musicianship and artistry and things of that nature. And in so many words, he basically said that, Cardi B isn't a good rapper. Of course, there are some people out there who agreed with them and stated their stance as to why they supported Funk Master Flex. And then of course, there was some who actually came for him and things like that. My stance, I actually do. I like Cardi. I don't necessarily like everything that she does and all the music that she puts out. But to see her rise to such prominence as she have in such little time, to me, there has to be some talent there somewhere. And so just to say that she's not a good rapper overall, I would have to disagree with that, because I feel like there are other people in the industry, whether they are past or present, that are not nearly as talented as she is. Of course, we know that she has a team of people working for her and things of that nature to make sure that she stays in the game as long as she can. But at the same time, she is also self-made, as well. She had already found stardom, with her role within the Love and Hip Hop franchise. For those of you all that watched that, that's how she first came to prominence.
Yeah, and even before that, because she was like had a heavy social media following, like on Instagrams, because that's kind of like what got her noticed to be on hip hop.
Yeah. So of course, like I said, there was some beef on social media concerning that, and I guess I don't. There's nothing wrong with people stating their stance. At the end of the day, people gonna have opinion about whatever they're gonna have an opinion about. But to me, you can't really. What's the word I want to use? You can't really compare this generation of music, to me, in my opinion, with generations of the past. Like, every generation comes with their own thing. Like, we grew up, for those of us who were born in the 80s, raised in the 90s, most of the music that we listened to, it was R&B, it was hip hop, it was pop, that type of thing. We had a lot of groups back in the days, whether they were female or male groups. You don't necessarily see that today. You see a lot more solo artistry. You see a lot more people getting discovered, via social media, whether that's on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, that type of thing. So I think in a sense, it's unfair to compare, her stardom and where she currently is in her musicianship compared to somebody that's been around, 20 plus, 30 plus, 40 plus years in the industry.
Was he comparing her to someone, or he just was saying that he just didn't feel like she was a good rapper?
He was just saying that she was a good rapper. But of course, like I said, you got people, the trolls that'll come in and state their opinions and things like that.
Yeah. Well, my stance on it, I'm a fan of Cardi B too. I take what Funk Master Flex say with a grain of salt a lot of times, and only because he go in on a lot of different people. Because he went in on Nicki.
I remember that.
I don't know what his issue is, like, with female rappers in particular. But I think Cardi is talented. I think she makes a lot of dope songs. I like a lot of her music. That's on my playlist, a lot of her music. I feel like she, whether you hate her or love her, she has done a lot for the female rap game. She's, broke a lot of records with her music, has 5 #1 singles. The first female rapper to be able to say that. And, I know people always be talking about, well, she don't write her own music and this, that, and the other. I mean, and Cardi has said that, yes, she does use a team of people to help her write music, but nonetheless, she does write her music. Oh my goodness. Here go random side note yet again. Scrolling. I'm pretty sure this is Dre, but you don't like Meg though, as laugh out loud. Okay. I never said I did not like Megan Thee Stallion. Let's just be clear. I think her music is dope too. She has a lot of music that I, want to dance to and things like that. But we're talking about Cardi in this situation right now, not Megan. But anyway. So, but yeah, so like I said, I don't really take pay attention to much what he say, because he always going in on people for no reason. I think he just like to hear himself talk a lot of times. But anyway, that's just me. What Carrie's saying. A lot of older people think all this new music sucks and they promote anything, anybody. Facts.
That's facts.
Very true. Very true. Oh, me, I'm older people. Thank you for keeping it real, Carrie. Always appreciate that.
Carrie is a mess.
But yeah. But we could go in on buzzworthy topics all day, but we do got to get to the meat and potatoes of our conversation.
Most
So you want
definitely.
to go ahead and transition right into our topic of discussion, Lakeisha?
Let's do it, cuz. Let's do it.
Okay, but before we do that, we want to go ahead and give you the title of this episode, which is Impossible Beauty Standards. So, Lakeisha, you want to give a little bit of background on how we came up with this particular topic?
How did we come up with this particular brain fart?
Okay, so remember we were talking about different possible topics.
Yes.
And this one came up in particular, especially when we were talking about the situation with Khloe Kardashian.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So for those who don't know, Khloe Kardashian, I want to say it was a few weeks ago or something like that. She was in the news real heavy. There was a controversy about some unedited photo that came out of her that she's trying to get off the internet because she don't like how she looked in it or whatever have you like that. When we did our research on the photo, I was trying to figure out like, okay, what's the issue with the photo? Because first of all, I was like, this must be an old picture because this don't look like how she looked now.
Mm-hmm.
But in the photo, it didn't look bad. Remember, I showed it to you. Yeah. And we were just like, okay, so what is the problem, so to speak? So that's kind of what prompted this episode, because it made us think about body image and positive body image, negative body image, and things like that. So that's how we came up with this. You remember now?
Now it's starting to come to my memory. Yes.
Okay.
I'm getting old. I'll just excuse some of you. I'm getting old.
That's what it is.
Yes, that's what it is.
That's what it is. That's what it is. Okay. So that got us thinking about body image. So when we hear the word body image, what comes to your mind? Like, what typically comes to your mind, Lakeisha?
When I think of body image, I think of it's the way in which people, tend to view their body. And I think a lot of times when you hear the word body image, people automatically go to weight. But that's just one aspect of body image. Body image encompasses, what do you think about your hair? How, do you like your face? Do you like, how your body is proportionate and things like that? What about yourself?
I agree. I also think it refers to how you feel about yourself. Because there's 4 aspects of body image. You have perceptual, which is the way you see yourself. Then there's affective, which is how you feel about yourself. Then there's cognitive, which is dealing with your thoughts and your beliefs. And then there's behavior, like the things that you do to act out in terms of like your body image and things like that, or the way you look. So like you said, it goes into a lot of different elements of it. People then tend to think of it as only dealing with weight. And we know as we talk about body image, like there's a lot of different influences that can go into that. Self-esteem plays a part in it, family, relationships, whether they're romantic or friendships, social media is a really big one,
especially with this generation.
Yes. Right. And I kind of want to go back to the Khloe Kardashian situation because, for those that follow the Kardashians or watched, their reality show over the years, Khloe was always viewed to be pretty much the ugly duckling, if you will, of the family. I'm not calling her ugly, by the way. I'm just saying that's what a lot of people referred her to. And I know that played a part in her emotional health and mental health about that, because she was very vocal about that, not only on this show but in interviews or whatever, because they would always compare her to Kim and Courtney and even the younger girls, I think Kendall and Kylie, about how her body looks. And I think that had a significant role in how Khloe viewed herself. And I personally think that she looked fine before. But I don't know like what her reason was for wanting to, make changes to her body or whatever. I thought she looked fine before, but I'm not going to judge her for doing that. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like if you don't like something about your body, you more than willing to change it. But do it for the reasons that's making you happy. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily doing it because that's what your spouse wants you to do, or your family member wants you to do, or your friend wants you to do something like that, do it for you. And I think sometimes I just wonder if Khloe was really doing those things for her. You know what I'm saying? Because we know that she's had like not the best of luck in relationships.
Yeah.
And it just makes me wonder like her reasons
And I think
for
a
doing
lot
that.
of women can probably relate to Khloe, as well as men, because I was also shocked too when we started thinking about this particular topic, and I was doing my research to find how many men actually do not view themselves in a positive light when it comes to the way that they perceive their bodies to be. And so, like you said before, I think some of that comes from the way that we were reared, how we were raised, and the things that we heard our family say, whether it was to us directly or comments they could have been making about other individuals or seeing somebody on television, and so on and so forth. Teens, I think with them, a lot of pressure not only comes from social media, but also even the individuals, their peers, who they hang out with. So if you have a peer group that's constantly focused on weight, they're constantly focused on, makeup and making sure that your contour is right, and that you don't have the double chins on films. And when we're out here on in these Instagram streets, that we're putting out our best pics and things of that nature. Eventually, if you don't have a high self-esteem about yourself, you will find yourself succumbing to what people say about you and things of that nature. I'm shocked and appalled that a lot of young people are suffering from body image problems. And I'm not just talking about teenagers, like I'm talking about kids in elementary school, y'all.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
starts early.
it started
Mm-hmm.
earlier, than it even was for our generation. I mean, you got 7 and 8 year olds out here. I've seen boys, looking at their stomach like I want, already trying to focus and hone in on, getting a six pack. Or girls, worrying about how their hair is laid. They're already into the lashes and the makeups and the provocative outfits and things like that because of the attention it's going to bring. So, like I said, we have to be careful for those of you all that have children, even for those of you all that may be like Shaniqua and I that don't naturally have kids as of yet. But we have young people in our family, nieces and nephews, and things of that nature. When they're in your presence, be aware of what it is that you're exposing them to. Be aware of what it is that you're saying and the different messages that you are conveying, because power lies in your tongue, but also you can also strike death upon somebody, as well. I remember growing up, several people in my family as well as community making statements. I remember in the first grade being picked on because I was the type of girl, I developed physically very early. Like I was already in a training bra, you all, first, second grade. So I got picked on by boys, and things like that. Like I didn't know what was going on or what was happening, with these changes in my body and things of that nature. So we just have to be very, very careful, like I said before, what we say, the messages that we are conveying or what we're trying to get across to people, because you never ever know what type of mental and emotional and spiritual state these people are in as a result, and the demons that they could be battling behind closed doors. Because as me and you have said on previous segments before, when it comes to me exiting out my front door, or when it comes to me presenting and being present on social media, I can show up in any shape, form, or fashion in which I choose to. And a lot of times, especially on social media, we present the best aspects of us. We don't necessarily want people to see, you
Mm-hmm.
know, those things that we are insecure about, whether it's our speech, whether it's about our weight, whether it's about, we got a droopy eye, or we could have, a keloid on an ear. Like we don't want to show people that type of thing because, like I said, people are mean, and to me, the world is getting evil by the day.
Yeah, meaner, darker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
most definitely.
And you brought up a good point, because I was just thinking about like just the impact of social media today. And and like you were saying, people are only going to pick and choose what they post on social media, because they don't want nobody to see that, that they're struggling or they're not doing well in life. They only want you to focus on the good things that are going on. And it's the same way when a lot of people post selfies, like think about how many times you took a picture
Yeah.
on your phone, you know what I'm saying, to get that perfect angle just right, or
Yeah.
get the lighting just right, or get your facial expressions just right, get the perfect smile or whatever have you. So you're only going to post the best one out of that, but not the rows of different films pics that you went through to get to the picture that you finally posted. And it doesn't help when people are vultures on social media, going in your comments, really just nitpicking everything that you wear, everything that you might wear your hair, how you look, and things like that. I mean, because people, I call them internet thugs. You know what I'm saying? Like they
Yeah.
really be like, hiding behind their computers or whatever, behind their phones or whatever, and really like saying stuff that you wouldn't say to these people's face most of the time. Let's just be honest,
Yeah.
because they feel like they can get away with it.
Yeah. And it's not even, Shaniqua, body shaming is part of it, but then you have the other aspect where people will fall into your DMs, and instead of body shaming you, they're making you feel so uncomfortable about the body that you're in, because they're placing so much emphasis, on that, whether that's your butt, your hip, your thighs, your breasts, your the color of your eyes, your six pack, that type of thing. So even in that sense, it can cause one to feel insecure and to go within themselves as well.
Very true. Very true. And so, like, I know we've talked about this in previous episodes before, but I really think that the foundation really starts, with our families, at home, in terms of like what is considered to be like a positive body image. Like, what does that look like? Because there are things that you may not necessarily like about your body, and that's fine. There's some things about my body that I don't like or whatever, but you could still be okay with your body, even though you may not necessarily be satisfied, because there's aspects of your body that you may really like. And that's kind of the difference between like a positive or negative, positive body image and body dissatisfaction. Because a lot of people think, oh, well, if I don't like my body or whatever, blah, 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 this, that, and the other, like I'm this mean person, or, I don't like myself or whatever have you like that. And that's not necessarily the case. Because like I said, you can like things about your body, not like things about your body, but at the same time, be okay with
Yeah,
who you are, the person.
most definitely. Most definitely.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So, with that being said, like we talked about like positive, body image and things like that, negative body image. But in terms of like what negative body image can lead to, like we know it can lead to a variety of different things, like such as eating disorders,
Mm-hmm.
like anorexia, bulimia, just to name a few, as well as, like you said, self-esteem issues, depression,
Yeah.
some anxiety, and even some, in very severe cases, some suicidal thoughts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Also, bullying. It could cause
Yes.
an
Yeah.
increase for that individual to be bullied, whether in person or through, the cyberspace. It can bring on substance abuse
Mm-hmm.
issues. So when it comes to drugs and alcohol, and even I was even shocked to learn that somebody who suffers from a negative body image or sees themselves in a negative light when it comes to how they view their body, it could actually lead to problems when it comes to sex, with regards to these individuals engaging in sexual encounters at a much younger age, and things like that. So it puts them more at risk for contracting, STDs and STIs and HIV and AIDS and things like that, and just being, you know, just not being cognizant not only of their own health, but of
Mm-hmm.
the individuals that they are possibly exposing themselves to.
Very true. Very true. Is there anybody that you can think of that you feel like they exclude, I guess, confidence in terms of their body image and they own who they are? Like anybody that stands out to you?
Yes. So I was, when me and you were talking, we were planning this episode. Um, what came to light for me, for those of you all that do not know, when it comes to social media, I love YouTube. Like I stay on YouTube probably more than any other social media platform. And so one of the influencers that I follow recently made headlines. For those of you all, like I said, that are big into YouTube, you've probably heard of her name. Her name is Kayla Nicole Jones. And basically, she became a YouTube superstar based on this meme that came out about her. You can find her on Instagram. You can find her on YouTube. She's known for doing like funny skits and just really just being just very open, very transparent about her life and the type of things that she likes to do and things she likes to get in and things of that nature. Um, Recently, about 2 months ago, her and her fiance welcomed their firstborn child into this world. And like I stated, Kayla is very open. She's very transparent about her life. And she didn't, wane when it came to her having a baby. She actually filmed, she take the entire pregnancy as well as her delivery. She's been open and transparent about her struggles being a mother, especially her dealing with postpartum depression and things like that. And about a week or so ago, she posted a picture of her post baby body via Instagram. And the picture basically, it shows her stomach and just what a woman's body, goes through and the aftermath, the after effects of what happens to her stuff, to her skin as far as it being loose and I call them tiger marks. People call them stretch marks. Some people may call them stretch marks and things like that. And of course, she was being hailed by some people on social media. There were a lot of women who are mothers, thanking her for embracing, the new body and celebrating this new body that she has since the birth of her son. And then, of course, there's the opposite end, of that angle where you had people, basically telling her that, how dare you put these photos out here? Nobody wants to see that, you're disgusting and things of that nature. And like I said, I thank God that she has such a high self-esteem about herself. She has a very supportive circle around her, but at the end of the day, she's just like anybody else. And who's to say that a comment or two or three did not affect her? You know what I'm saying? And so, like I said, we have to be careful. At some point or another, you don't know if you're going to walk down that road that this young lady has walked down, or if you don't walk down it, maybe somebody that's close to you may actually end up going through that experience. And so, bringing a life into this world is it's such an awesome experience. And for those of you all who've never ever experienced, like, it's nothing like it. I've seen my oldest nephew come into this world. And like I'm telling you, man, hats off to all mothers. Like, you talking about a process, like that's a process, y'all. A woman being in labor for 15, some 20, some 36 hours, bringing a life into this world. And then how dare you sit up here and joke about this woman and pick on her about her body and how she's now shaped and things of that nature, when A, you didn't go through the experience, or B, you could have went through the experience and had a different outcome. We all know that everybody's body reacts differently to different things. But you have to, like I said, we have to be cognizant of how we treat people and what we say, because we don't know what we will be facing down the road. And so like I said, my hat's off to Nicole for doing that and showing the world that although I am a celebrity, although I have this large platform, and she has the money, she has the contacts if she wanted to go and get get some liposuction, or she wanted to go and have a tummy tuck and things of that nature, but she's keeping it real. This is what I went through in order to bring my son into
Mm-hmm.
the world, and I'm celebrating that. So, like, what's wrong with that? But like I said, the world that we live in, is basically, it's starting to feel like what's right is wrong, and what's wrong now is right, at least in some people's eyes.
I agree. And like you were saying, like the girl just had a baby. Like, what do you
Exactly.
expect for her body to look like? You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't, well, I think you did show me the picture of her, but like I actually commend her for doing that, for showing what a real body will actually
Yeah.
look like after giving birth.
After
Because
giving
I'm
birth.
I'm not with this whole snapback culture
Yeah.
thing or whatever like that, because to me it's unrealistic or whatever. Like, let me see your stretch marks, let me see, the stomach being a little, fluffier or whatever have you like that, because that's real. Like, you don't need to hide that, but that's just my opinion.
Right.
So kudos for her for not doing that, for going against the norm with
Exactly.
that.
Exactly.
What was her
Because,
response? What was her response to that? I'm just curious about the whole backlash that she got.
oh, of course, like I said, she's a comedian, so she didn't give in to what people were saying. But at the same time, like I said, we also don't know how she dealt with that behind closed doors. Like I said, I can, on social media, we can put out anything and make it seem like everything is a-okay. But like I said, we don't necessarily know how she took it, behind closed doors. So like I said, not only was she transparent about her post body look, she also was talking about her dealing with postpartum depression and how real that is for a lot of mothers once they give birth as well. So to me, it was like trauma on top of trauma. Here you is poking fun at how I'm look, and at the same time, I'm still in a sense dealing with what I got going on mentally as well as physically. So that's enough to send anybody over the edge. But like I said, she has a supportive people around her, the way that she views herself. She makes light of everything. But like I said, basically she's laughed it off, and she's continued to move on with her life, to live her best life with her fiance and her baby.
As she should.
Exactly.
As she really should.
Because is there somebody that you feel does a great job when it comes to showing their imperfections and just living in their truth when it comes to their body and how they perceive themselves to be?
Um, yeah, I do. I don't think people have really said anything negatively about her body, but I do love her confidence, and that's Ashanti. Okay, like, I follow her on Instagram, and when I tell you, to me, this is me, I really feel like she is body goals, like all the way. Like, she loves to show pictures of her being on vacation and, in her two-piece bathing suit, and she looks good.
She
Okay, let me
does.
just say that. For her to be, I think she's 40, if I'm
Mm-hmm.
not mistaken. For her to be 40, I mean, and not saying that 40 is old, so don't come for me, because that's not old at all. But what I'm saying is, for her to be the age that she is, I mean, she looks phenomenal.
She
Like, she
does.
looks beautiful. And I know that that is natural, like her body, because she's posted pictures and videos of her being in the gym, working out with a personal trainer and things like that. Because, a lot of people try to go in on you, and that ain't your real body. You had work done, and, and this, that, and the other. And even if you did have work done, like, that's your
Own
business,
it.
like, what I'm saying? Like, just own that. But I
Yeah.
think it would be her for me.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, be her for
I
me.
like Ashanti.
I do too. So that would be her for me. So, with that being said, we talked about, like, negative effects of body image and things like that, but how do we go about promoting positive body image? What do you think that looks like?
So I would say, first and foremost, you need to check your clique. You need to check the people that you are around, whether that includes family, that includes friends, it's coworkers, it could be complete strangers. So if people are not adding and they are not pouring into your life and they're not loving on you, they're not encouraging you, they're not holding you accountable and wanting you to be a better version of you, then it's maybe time for you to change circles. And that can be hard, as a lot of us, we want to take people into different stages and phases in life.
And they
And
can't.
for everybody cannot go with you along your journey. For some people, they've rode their train, that train to, wherever they can ride it, and now it's time for them to depart. And um it's not saying that there's anything that you are better than them or that they
Mhm.
are on a lower rung than you. Y'all are just in different spaces, at the points of your life. And so there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I would say another thing that an individual can do when it comes to viewing or seeing themselves in a positive light when it comes to their body is also check who you follow on social media. That is something I've had to do over the years. Once again, if people are spewing filth, if they are spewing darkness, if they are spewing evil, whether it's directed towards you or even another person, you want to check that, because eventually, like I said, if you're not strong enough, you could start to accept what it is that they are saying. And you will start that stuff will start to wear and tear
Mhm.
um on you. So go through your social media, your Instagram, your Facebooks, your YouTubes, and clean your pages up. May need to unsubscribe from some people, you may need to unfollow some people, and things like that. And then find people on social media, like I said, that are total opposite, that are doing just that are showing both women and men and children in positive lights. They are big on meditation, they're big on prayer, they're big on exercise, they are big on you being the best version of yourself, whether that's assisting you with your makeup or with your how you present yourself in public, as far as like your hair, your hair and your outfits and things like that. So those would be my two suggestions. Check your peer group, clean up your social media, maybe time to let some people go. What about yourself, cuz?
That's true, because a lot of times people don't want to let others go because it's
Mm-hmm.
hard. Because it involves us having to deal with change, and change is
Yep.
not always good for people.
Yep.
Um, but I think for me, just positive affirmations, avoiding negative self-talk if you can. Because like you were saying, like, you are a lot of times what you say, what you become, and things like that. So there's nothing wrong, like I was saying before, with not liking certain things about your body, but focus on the things that you do like about your body. Like, I love my hair. I love my beautiful brown skin, or my, dark chocolate complexion, or whatever have you. You know what I'm saying? Like, say those type of things to yourself. And I personally feel like the more you do say it to yourself, the more you'll start to believe it, because that's all in change behavior. Like, your
Yeah.
thoughts affect, your beliefs and your behavior and things like that. And also, if you do feel like, you're not happy with your weight or whatever have you, think healthier, not necessarily skinnier. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because a lot of people always make it seem like, oh, well, skinny, thin equates, a healthy body. And that's not necessarily true.
That's
Because like
correct.
like me growing up, like, I was, thin, like really thin. And people used to make fun of me for that. You always think people make fun of overweight people, but it's the same way with skinnier people too. And I feel like you have to realize, like, okay, if you do want, you know, to lose weight or whatever have you, think of like some healthy ways that you can do it, like balance, have a balanced diet, things like that, exercise more, incorporate that. Don't necessarily feel like you gotta go to the extreme with these crazy diets and starving yourself and all these things like that. And even the same way, if you want to gain weight, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Healthier ways that you can do that.
Oh yeah.
And also, the most important thing, I cannot stress this enough, and sometimes I'm guilty of this as well. I'll admit that. Not comparing ourselves to others.
Most definitely,
Not
cuz.
not comparing ourselves to others in terms of like how their body looks compared to yours or whatever have you. Just like be good with who you are.
Yeah.
Be okay with being unique. You know, you are unique for a reason. You were created differently for a reason, and just be okay with that, and not rely on like the Instagram models you know, to make you feel like, okay, that's what's considered a standard of beauty, because beautiful can be many different things
To many different people.
to many different people.
You're absolutely correct.
So I
And
think, yeah, go ahead.
oh, I didn't mean to cut you off. You can go ahead, cuz.
No, you're fine. That those will be my tips.
I was just going to add to what you were saying about us not comparing ourselves to others, because I work primarily with teenagers, and this is a big issue with them. And a lot of times I tell, our teens, the body that you have now, probably within 2, even 3, sometimes within a year, especially for my guys, you probably not even going to look the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Guys don't reach a peak, especially when it comes to height, until 21. So you may look, scrawny at the age of 10, and by 12 or 13, you look like a grown man. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing for our girls. If you haven't fully developed in certain areas, there's no need to panic. There's no need to get down about yourself, because your body is constantly undergoing changes. And as you stated, because if there is something that is within your midst that you can change, and you have the aptitude to do so, then do it. Why sit around and complain about it? Why can sit around and mope about it and moan about it? Like I said, if you have the tools and the resources to do so, like you said, eat healthy, exercise. If you want to get, any surgical procedure done, make sure that you've done your research,
Mm-hmm.
especially about the doctor. You want to make sure that that doctor is certified in the particular area that you're going to have the surgery done. Also, if you can connect to former patients of the physician, so you can get some feedback for them, that would be good. But as Shaniqua stated earlier in our segment, whatever it is that you do, whether you take the natural route or you don't, make sure that you're always doing it because this is something that you want to do. Because if not, you're going to always be chasing impossible beauty standards. You're going to always let other people, you're always going to let media, your family, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whoever, dictate to you how you should look and how you should feel. And so you're going to always be on this just never ending roller coaster of emotions and feelings if you don't necessarily get to the gist of as to why you're feeling the way that you feel about the way that you look.
Well said, cuz drop the mic on that.
You a mess.
No, but seriously, well said. Our comments a little quiet. Y'all feel free to say anything if anything, stuck out to you. If you want to add anything to the conversation, feel free to do that. While we still have a few minutes left on. But was there anything else that you wanted to say about this topic?
That
About
was
image?
it, cuz. What about yourself?
Didn't have anything else about
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Well, before we wrap up, as we mentioned to you all in past segments, we have encouraged you all we want more participation. We want to hear more from you all with regards to our podcast and topics and just different matters that you all may want us to touch on. But we have been reaching out to you all and to just asking you all over the past couple of weeks or the day or even in the moment, what is an aha moment? What insightful moment has come to you? And so we did receive some feedback from some of our followers, and so we wanted to shout a particular follower out tonight by the name. You can find her on Instagram at IAM_right90. Her insightful moment came to us on this past Friday, and it is a Bible verse from one of my favorite books in the Bible, Proverbs 4th chapter, 23rd verse, and it reads, Proverbs 43, Proverbs 4:23 has been on my whiteboard since March, and it states, guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. This reminds me to be careful of the things that I consume. I don't want my heart to be contaminated with unproductive stuff that will hinder my growth. And so I am _right90. Thank you for submitting your insightful moment to us. We are greatly appreciative of your efforts.
I agree. And that insightful moment really does touch on what we were talking about in this episode. So, yes, really appreciate it. Okay, what is it about randoms? What y'all want to hear from me? Laugh out loud. Well, whatever you want to say. Whatever you want to say. If you have anything you want to add, you can feel free to do that. But if not, that's cool too. But like we were saying before, we do want to continue to highlight people that submit insightful moments. So please make sure that you do that, and it could be anything. Like you said, it could be an aha moment, it could be a Bible scripture,
a quote, a positive affirmation,
right,
something funny. It don't have to be serious. It could be quirky, it could be funny, it can be a solace moment, it can be whatever it is that you want it to be.
Yeah, it could be a moment
from you all.
Yeah, a moment of gratitude, like whatever, just think about, I think a lot of times people may put too much emphasis on like it has to be like it doesn't have to be that, honestly. Like just whatever stands out to you, what was insightful to you for that particular day, week, whatever. So that's kind of what it is. So please continue to like send those to us because we really appreciate it and we want to shout y'all out.
Yeah.
And so as always, like we talked about before, definitely make sure that you like and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Our our handle is Insight Convo WSL. And also don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And like I said before, you also can follow us and listen to us on all major audio podcast platforms. So there is no excuse why you cannot catch up with our episodes, because you can watch us or listen to us. So yeah, so just want to say that. And if you haven't already liked this video, please go ahead and like it. Share it if you want. You can leave comments for us after the episode if you want. That's fine too. We appreciate all of that. All right. Is there anything else, cuz, on your end?
That's it, cuzzo. We wish you all well as you all go throughout the remainder of your week. Be safe. Mask up for those of us that's still in states that are mandated to wear masks inside of public places and things of that nature, so that we keep those around us safe and away from all hurt, harm, and danger. And
hold on. Are there still mask mandates? I didn't know, because it seemed like I don't never see people wearing masks no more hardly. So
like I said, in some places they're not. In some places, like I said, there is. So it just really depends on where you're at. It does.
Yeah, because I guess people like, hey, the vaccines are here. You don't gotta wear masks no more, I guess. But to each his own.
To each their own. Right now, I'm continuing to mask up.
Yeah, me too. All right, then. Well, until next time, we'll be back in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Same time, same place. So make sure y'all tune in. Until the next time, y'all take care of yourselves and each other, and continue to like love yourself, promote positivity. We want that. We all for that, especially with a time of chaos that we're in now. So just continue to just be positive. Okay. All right, then. Well, y'all take care.
Take care, Insightful Gang.
Peace. Until next time.